What's up, old school homies? Let's talk about working with classical musicians. This is one of these things that everybody kind of considers if they get big enough. Like, hey, wouldn't it be better if I just had an orchestra behind me? Wouldn't it just fix everything? Or why doesn't every band have an orchestra for it? A lot of times they do. They'll have like a album that's just instrumental, classical, like Pink Floyd did a symphonic album. It was pretty cool, and it was just like there wasn't any vocals in it. It was just all classical orchestra type music. And my one friend that is really good at playing in an orchestra, I decided to show him a video of Steve Vai playing with some classical musicians, and I said, "Oh, check this out. You should work with this guy." Because he is great, and he actually did get to meet Steve Vai after I told him about this. So we put the video on, and the orchestra kind of just puts in a nice intro. And all of a sudden, Steve Vai just breaks into some weird solo, and then the orchestra, it just like turned dark, like the lighting went away from them, and they all started to get quiet. And I saw my friend's face just change, like, oh no. It was great. It was just like an answer to me, like, and yeah, if you're just gonna shut the orchestra down and just use them for an intro, maybe that's not the right way to do it. I think the best way to work with a classical musician is maybe not to work with the whole orchestra, and to just choose another instrument that might work with you. When I was playing guitar, I got this other guy's phone number that I worked with because he played baritone, and I thought maybe the baritone and the guitar might find some way to work together. And I don't know, I should have kept playing guitar, but I think some instruments do complement themselves really well. And the guy who played in the orchestra, he played the viola, and he said the bass goes good with the viola. Of course, a drummer works good with anything, but yeah, consider it. I'm not saying just consider classical musicians playing modern music, because that happens a lot, but like trying to actually work with them. Here's the problem. A lot of times modern musicians don't read music, and then there's this whole like conversation that kind of kills the mood about, do you read music? And it's really not necessary that you have to read music to play with a classical musician, but they're gonna know more theory basically than most anybody, other than maybe like some jazz bebop player or something. You're not really gonna find a more educated player to play with. But that shouldn't stop you being creative with another friend. It's basically, it should be a friendship thing that blossoms into something that sounds good through like trial and error, in my opinion.